I know, well, quite a lot about winning Celebrity Apprentice, so very soon one of my guests will too. Country singer John Rich, actress MARLEE MATLIN. Let's cut the crap, shall we? You both want to kill each other in the final, right?
Hey. Yeah, Marley said, yeah, okay, you suck.
Marley said, you want to kill each other in the final, don't you?
I don't know, but I don't think we want to kill each other, but I want to win. I want to win bad.
Have I got some advice for them? The Celebrity Apprentice finalists and Dick Van Dyke, one of the funniest fall guys in television history. What did you think you'd be when you were young?
A failure. A total starving failure.
A song and dance man who starred in an absolutely classic TV series. Could you have ever imagined being married to Mary Tyler Moore? For real?
In a different life, in a different world, it probably would have worked out very well, yeah.
As well as movies loved by generations. And tonight, he's here. This is Piers Morgan Tonight. This is a rather nerve-wracking time for my guests here because one of them is about to win Celebrity Apprentice. And as somebody who's already won that competition, I'm the best person to know just what hell they have been through so far. Joining me now is country singer John Rich and actress MARLEE MATLIN with our interpreter Jack Jason. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
I know what you've been through. I was there in the trench before you. I mean, it is a nightmare, isn't it, Celebrity Apprentice? The workload, the stress, the strain. John, you go first.
Well, the exhaustion is what I never anticipated. You know, I think the fans at home think, oh, it's one task a week, no big deal. But in real time, as you know, it's relentless every single day, 16, 18 hours a day. That's the thing that really caught me off guard.
I mean, Marley, it's very stressful, isn't it?
It's extremely stressful. It's non-stop, round the clock. And if you want to eat, you have to find your time to eat. They don't make time for you to eat. That's how you lose weight on the show. That's how I lost weight on the show. They don't tell you what to expect when you get there. You have no anticipation. You just do it. There's surprises, but you know what? We all went with the flow, and we picked it up as we went along.
And it's a kind of torture, and I've said this to Donald Trump, where the producers just make you more and more exhausted. They're trying to break down your defenses. They're trying to get you emotionally and physically shattered, aren't they?
And yet, it's up to you whether you want to take it that way. You say to yourself, this is what I want? Yes, I'm here for my charity, so I've just got to go with it. This is what kept me going. It's the charity. It's the money. It's like you're being greedy for your charity, but you have to take care of yourself. You have to drink water. You have to eat. You have to do whatever it is as much as you can in the time that you're given. But you have to say to yourself, focus and do what you can.
How much did you both raise for your charities, and what were the charities?
I raised $1,050,000. Oh, wait, $1 million, and then the additional $50,000 that 7 Up gave us. So, and then I raised $70,000 on behalf of the other charity that people were playing for.
I'm just under $800,000 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and then another $130,000 for other charities. I mean, so it's an immense amount of money that was raised this season.
I remember when I did it, I think I raised just under $800,000 for the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. I know that you have certainly been involved with, John. I mean, it does, although you don't only do it for the charity, there are other reasons. It certainly makes you feel good when you can raise that kind of money, doesn't it?
Well, exactly. I mean, but for me, the whole point for me was to do it for charity because, I mean, clearly it is exposure. People want to see what you can do beyond what they expect, what you might do in your career. I'm an actor, and I'm also an author, and I'm a mom, and I'm a producer, but I've never been a graphic designer, and I've never made pizza in my life like the way we had to make pizza, and I've never had to run an ad or shoot a commercial. So it was great to be able to give me sort of validate that I'm able to learn and do other things other than what I'm used to doing. Pick things up.
I'm worried that when I die, all the obituaries will say, man who sold hot dogs with Gene Simmons and Lennox Lewis dies.
I find that funny. Don't most people think you're immortal? I mean, that's what I thought. I thought that about you.
I mean, John, you obviously, I took on Trace Atkins in the final of my season, who's a fellow country singer. And it struck me when I tried to, Donald Trump invited me back for last week's episode when he was trying to cut down from 4 contestants to the 2. And he told me to really go after everybody and try and get under your skin. And what I found impressive about both of you, why I recommended both of you to him, was you were both very cool under fire. And this was despite the fact you've been through this hellish ordeal. You in particular, I mean, I even mocked your hat, the famous Texan Stetson, and
Yeah.
you still were having none of it. Ice cool.
Well, I walk through the streets of New York City in a cowboy hat, and I hear "Yeehaw" about every 20 seconds, you know. So, listen, where I come from, Amarillo, Texas, it's part of the culture. You know, it's not a fad where I come from. And honestly, I knew you were there to grill us and to go at us like that. And we'd been through so much as it was. There was no way I was going to crack under anything. I knew I wanted to be in the final two and go for that last $250,000 for St. Jude, period. And I had my game face on big time for that.
And I remember you asked me, Marley, you said, Marley, what's the advantage of having, you know, you've done a good job and you've won money and so forth and so on, but people might think you're you know, having an advantage by having an interpreter. I said, well, wait a minute. I can't communicate without an interpreter, so how is that an advantage? And sit there and try to read everybody's lips. And I would be totally lost. He was like an octopus. Jack had to sign for everyone. I needed to understand who was talking, who was yelling, who was thinking, who wasn't thinking, and that's what an interpreter is for.
Well, here's the extraordinary thing about what I'm watching now. And this struck me when I came back in to judge the Final Four. I have never seen anything like you two. I mean, I know you've worked together for 20 years, but you have this kind of symbiotic, real-time relationship which allows you to have a completely normal conversation.
Well, as you said, we've worked for 25 years together. First of all, Jack has deaf parents, so sign language is his first language. So that's where he takes advantage of being able to communicate and sign very well. But secondly, as you said, we work together, perhaps 12, 5, 18, 5, not 24/7, but he knows exactly what I'm thinking in terms of, but I'm always watching Jack.
Did it give you an advantage that the others heard you speaking in a male voice?
Perhaps because they see me signing and they know that it's me talking. I think if I had a female voice, it would have associated that voice with me, but having a male voice makes it clear that that's the message, but I'm the one who's speaking. And, you know, I'm not just taking advantage of what he signs and thinking, okay, fine, I'm comfortable. I'm always having to pay attention. And I sometimes, you know, catch him when he messes up. And I ask him, please say it again.
See, when I interviewed you, I was quite intimidated because all this kind of sign language, you do it in such a bang, bang way. I was quite scared.
It's how I speak. Hearing people a lot of times don't think, maybe they've never seen a deaf person, they've never seen a person moving their hands, and they're like fascinated, like kids learning something new. But it comes really quickly to most. I mean, I'm just used to it. I'm really just used to it.
How important is this man to you?
This man here? This man plays a big role in my life because not only is he a good friend and he runs my production company, he's my confidant, and it's important to have him there, but not on a personal level. It's completely separate. It's complete and pure business.
And how embarrassed does he get when he has to talk about himself in the third person like this?
Well, he loves it when he hears his own voice talking about him like that, so.
I mean, John,
that's great.
It's an extraordinary thing to witness. I mean,
incredible.
When I was trying to think, if I'd been on The Apprentice this season, watching Marley having to interact with 14, 16 people to start with, and hold her own and win challenges, a remarkable thing.
Without a doubt. I don't think anybody that's ever met Marley thinks anything other than what you just said. She's a remarkable person, period. I mean, really, really impressive. And to watch this...
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I look at it as kind of like a privilege to experience being around such a relationship, because how many people have ever even seen something like this in person? It's incredible.
And what
it happens every day. Deaf people...
Yeah. No, I know it happens, but you don't get the opportunity to witness it firsthand.
And although you say that, Marley, I think the really important thing, I thought after meeting you and seeing this in action, is the incredible power of you as a role model now for deaf people in America. I mean, incredible. This show must have transformed that for you.
Well, there are 35 deaf and hard of hearing people in the United States. And you're not talking about all the deaf people. 35 million. 35 million deaf and hard of hearing people in the United States. And so if you think about how many people, and then add that to the kids, which Starkey helps, all those people who might need hearing aids, all those kids, to make sure that they have the opportunity for access to communication, to education, to have the opportunities that kids who can hear, to get equal rights, just like anyone else. It's a large number of people. And we're talking about adults as well, too.
And the other great advantage you had, as I pointed out on Sunday during the show, was that you couldn't hear all the terrible screaming and hollering going on.
That was the advantage that I've had. I've had that advantage all my life.
I mean, it's Meatloaf, Gary Busey, Star Jones. I mean, they're all going completely
Well, no, but you have to, I could see it. I know. As much as you could hear it, I could see them crying. I could see them getting in each other's face. And I was like, oh, my goodness. But what I would do is just conveniently turn my head and not look at Jack.
But I could see Omarosa. I just wish I hadn't been able to listen to her.
I'm sorry.
John, what would it mean to you, John, to win now? You've got so close, but in the end, there's only one winner. It's $250,000 extra goes to your charity. It's a really big deal, isn't it?
It's bigger than big, and I'm playing for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. This is a place in Memphis where kids with cancer that they don't even have names for the kind of cancer they have because it's such a horrible disease. It continues to morph into these new forms of cancer. They treat kids that insurance won't cover, that can't afford to be treated. They take the hardest cases in regardless of where they come from, and it's also a research center. So they have treatments for cancers that the treatments don't even have names yet. They're just a serial number. And they take these kids in, and the majority of them come out and survive this situation. It's huge what they do.
Putting the charity to one side, are you surprised how competitive you became in this competition, in the sense of wanting to win?
What I'm surprised is that, and you would never think a reality TV show would give you a life lesson, but it truly has to me. You could ask my friends, they'll tell you. I feel like this was the first time in my life I was able to take all the things that I'd built for myself and leverage them on behalf of someone else, something bigger than myself, in this case, St. Jude. There were things I wanted to say to people, things I wanted to engage that normally I would if it was just me and them, but I chose not to because I wasn't there for me. I was truly there for the charity, and it actually made me a better person playing on behalf of something bigger than me. And that really did happen, and it really was a gear shift right in my heart.
Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk to you both about what you've learned about yourselves from the process of being a Celebrity Apprentice, because I know I did.
Search any content and browse the web with the new Samsung Smart TV.